Hello, everybody. Ogbonna's injured. Don't know if you've heard. Don't know if I'm first, second, third. Could be the last person in this video, and you've heard it 8 times. But Ogbonna's injured, right? And I can't lie. I think I'm a bit calmer than everyone else. I heard the news late. So maybe that's why it's affected me in a different way. But a lot of the reactions I'm seeing from it are very somber, very defeatist, very sort of like fatalistic. Let's go with a lot of people thinking that this is the end of our season, where I don't think it is. I think we can maybe, unlike usually, I think for the last 2 years or so, we've had a lot of good centre backs at the club, and I still think that is the case. I think apart from the last game, I thought Dawson and Diop have done brilliantly all season. To be honest with you, every time they've played, I thought they've been brilliant. So the idea of Ogbonna getting injured, yes, it's a bad thing, but I think we've got people who are ready to step up into that, and I think, you know, perhaps we're reacting so negatively to it because we haven't had any major injuries, because it's all going so well and it feels like a bit of a gut punch. But at the end of the day, I'm not particularly surprised that one of our oldest players in our squad's got injured. Makes sense. And the question for me isn't really who steps up into his role. As much as that's maybe the immediate talking point, I don't think that's potentially the question I'm thinking most about, because to be honest with you, if you're thinking about it in terms of 2 different squads, 2 different 11s, you've got your League 11 or your best 11, and then you've got your Cup 11, as it were. I'd be quite happy to see Zouma playing both. Don't get me wrong, we've got a lot of games in December. I think we've got like 9 games in December. It's not going to stop. It's just going to continuously go and go and go. So maybe not every single one of those, but certainly I think for a centre-back, he probably can play twice a week, and he is good enough to do that. I think Zouma's revelatory. No, I think he's brilliant. I think he really is brilliant. And so I would be quite happy to see him play both 11s, and that will allow us to sort of assess fully where his partnership with Dawson's at and where his partnership with Diop's at, which one he's best for in time for me, A, January, but B, more importantly, December 22nd, when we face Tottenham in the Cup. I think that's the big one for me, because that's the time where I think we will flip, or I would flip the order of the teams around. So you have your best 11, your League 11, and you have your Cup 11. For me, that game in December, you play the best 11. It's a Cup quarter-final. It's against Tottenham. We want to be on our day. We want to play the best thing possible. And so having us play sort of Zouma in both 11s gives us a bit more opportunity to figure out exactly which one of those best partnerships is. And I really hope it's Diop. Hopefully this is the making of Diop. It might not be. Listen, we might find out once the scans happen and all that stuff, and that information inevitably leaks on Twitter, that he's only out for a couple of weeks. But I really do hope it's the making of Diop, in the same way that sort of Johnson took his opportunity when Kufal and Fredericks were injured, and now you could make an argument for him starting in the best 11. I think it's similarly here. I really hope Diop does that, because he's been really impressive this season. Like I say, apart from the previous game where Dawson and Diop played, and I know everyone slated Diop in that one. I felt like him and Dawson were equally poor, but I know that was bad. But outside of that, I think they've both been really reliable this year. And so I hope that Diop takes this opportunity and runs with it, because the idea of Diop in some sort of good form and Zouma next to each other, it's good. Whether or not it happens, we'll see. But yeah, it's really who's the backup guy. And until January, I'm happy for it to be a youth player, be it Baptiste, be it Elise, be it Alves. Look, we haven't really got much choice in that matter. It's going to be one of them regardless. But I think I'm happy. I'm calm with that. Maybe when you need to rest Zouma a bit, you bring them in for the cup squad or whatever, to give Zouma a bit of a rest for a game or two. That's a great opportunity for them as well. And then in January, we have to go out and sign someone. Just hopefully by that point, we've had the investment and we have some sort of money to spend in January. Otherwise, for me, you'd have to look at free transfers, or you'd have to look at a loan signing, because I don't want to see us go out and spend the money we need to spend on a striker, potentially left back, things like that, because I don't think we've got a lot of money. I think we've got like 20 million in January, 25 million in January. I've got no information on why we would that, but I'm just looking at it and looking at the situation and thinking we're poor as all hell and we don't have money. So hopefully it all works out. Like I say, not too concerned, maybe less concerned than I should be. But maybe that's just because we're massive. I don't know if you've heard that. Massive. But yeah, it's a shame. But hey, maybe we get to that thing where he comes back and we can go, it's like having a new signing again. He comes back at the end of the season roaring. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Good evening everyone, Steve 50 here. Just coming on to have a quick chat about the Angelo Ogbonna situation. Gates has asked me to do a quick video, so here we go. First of all, our thoughts go out to Angelo Ogbonna actually. He's coming towards the end of his career, and the last thing you want is that kind of injury for any player, but especially such a loyal servant to West Ham. I mean, this is the man who waited till we were safe and then had back surgery. Sorry, it's been a long day at work. I'm absolutely gutted for him. He's been an absolute star for us, and it's just really unfortunate. But the timeline for his recovery seems to be anywhere from 3 to 9 months, depending on the severity of the injury, and I really hope it's 3 months. But there is something to take into consideration, and I can only talk from personal experience. If it is a bad ligament injury, he's going to struggle to get back to the player we know. I was playing football in my late 20s. Went over in a tackle, blew all the ligaments out of my left ankle in plaster on crutches. Now, I'm no elite sportsman. I'm just an enthusiastic amateur who runs around a bit and tries to catch up with the ball and all that stuff. But it took me, it wasn't awful, it took me about 3 months till I could jog and run on the ankle again. But for the next 4 or 5 years, every time I played hard competitive sport, my ankle would swell up, and it would be a limiting factor in what I could do. Now we've got Angelo Ogbonna, who is an Italian international, top class footballer, elite sportsman, and he's 32. I think he's 32. This injury could be significant for him. I'm desperate for it not to be, because that's his livelihood, that's his job, and he always does it with a smile on his face, and from what I understand, he's very, very popular within the West Ham dressing room. But in terms of the player we've had, there's a chance we won't get that player back again. I mean, we saw it with Lanzini, didn't we, when he had that awful injury. And although I think Lanzini is now getting back to his previous effectiveness, I think he's having to do it in a different way. He's having to play differently to that which he did before the injury, and I think that causes us a bit of a problem, because quite rightly I think West Ham should show loyalty to the player. Goodness only knows he's showing loyalty to us. But also, if we are serious Europa League contenders, top 4 contenders, all of those things, and we want to progress, there is also going to have to be a ruthless streak in which you say, right, we need another decent centre back. I think either Diop or Dawson can fill in around Kurt Zouma for the time being, but heaven forbid Zouma gets injured and is out for 4 or 5 games as well. Now, Dawson and Diop will do a decent job, but the partnership of Zouma and Ogbonna was good, really good. They understood each other and they played really well. Now I think David Moyes can go one of 2 ways. He can shelve the idea of getting a striker in January, because one could argue that we're knocking in goals from all over the park. Mikel Antonio has only scored a small percentage of our goals this season. Would I do that? Possibly not. I think we need backup for Antonio because we're light at centre back. We're non-existent past Antonio at centre forward. So I think we would sign a striker as a priority. But then you have to decide what you can do about the centre back situation. Do we get another top quality Kurt Zouma like centre back? Or does Moyes pull another rabbit out of his hat and get a Dawson? Or do we even go for Jamal Baptiste, who I think it might be a bit soon for? I've never seen the lad play. I know he's fantastically highly rated. But the Premier League's a pressure cooker and he's a young lad. And with us competing on so many fronts, I think we need a mature, cooler head at the back. But this is what I expect Moyes to do. And unfortunately with my predictions, particularly on what the score will be in a West Ham game, I haven't got a clue. It's been proven. So please don't expect any of this to happen, and please expect something completely different to happen, because that would be fairly consistent with how I've seen things so far. I think Moyes has probably will have something up his sleeve, in that he gets another journeyman pro in. Now, why do we get Craig Dawson for 2 million? Well, because people thought he wasn't very good. But I tell you what, I bet David Moyes has worked with him and made him that good. I bet David Moyes has improved him immensely. So I'm expecting a stopgap. And we wait and see on Ogbonna. Though if it's a bad ACL, I don't think we'll get the old Ogbonna back. Just a personal opinion, you may disagree. And then I think we will sign a decent striker. What do I hope? I hope Ogbonna's injury is very minor and he's back in 3 months and back firing on all cylinders. That's what I would like. That is the ideal scenario. But we're just going to have to wait and see. As I say, thoughts to Angelo Ogbonna. He deserved a lot better than this, but unfortunately it hasn't worked out for him. Typical, isn't it? We're going for top 4 and he's got himself injured. I'd like to say a big thank you to Gatesy and Duke for having me on. And big them up. Please put a like on the video, not necessarily for my content, but I'm sure you'll have far more intelligent contributions from other people. And also subscribe to the channel, because it really helps them and they're top guys. Last thing to say, come on you Irons.
Hello, this is Budgie from WeStHaM RaNdOm. Just going to give you a brief rundown on my view on the Ogbonna injury story that's ongoing, as I should say. So it looks like from the reports and the chat that I've seen, that this could go anywhere from between 4 and 9 months for recovery. Now, if I'm right, 9 months takes him very close to or past the end of his contract with West Ham. Now, if I'm right in believing that, then it would be in David Moyes' best interest to replace him as soon as possible, and allow his contract to run out while he's on the injury table. How do we go about replacing him? Well, he's got a few options open to him at the moment. Option number 1 is to sign somebody that's out of contract as we speak, which isn't really the best option in my opinion, because it forces you to choose somebody that you're not looking at already. So maybe the quality might not be as good as we think we should have. The age might not be right. The experience may be completely lacking. So somebody out of contract is probably not going to be the way David Moyes will go, in my opinion. Now, he will have to wait until January to target somebody specifically. Or he may be able to look at them and, so on and so forth, but he can't actually make any firm bids until January. So what does he do in the meantime? Well, there is only one solution, and that is to promote an under-23s player up into the full squad. I'm not saying that he'll be used on a weekly basis, but to be training with the senior squad and to be on the bench, etc., will be good experience for them, whoever would be promoted. And it may even be that they're called upon and perform admirably, and then David Moyes wouldn't have the dilemma of looking for a central defender as well as a left back and a striker, and in some people's opinions he'll be looking to bring in Lingard again in January, but on a permanent deal. So there's 4 positions now that are likely to be required, if you like. What's he going to do about the defensive role? Now, he's got Zuma and he's got Diop and he's got Craig Dawson, 3 very good defenders, 3 very well balanced defenders. All of them are strong, good in the air, and they all fight for their place in the squad. So, some of them have better abilities than others, but in general, they're a pretty well balanced defensive 3. What are we going to do about replacing Ogbonna for the time being? There's a few options open to us in the under-23s, and I wouldn't want to put my finger on any one of the names because any one of them could get the call up. But it's probably, in my opinion, it's probably likely that one of them will get the call, because I don't think Moyes is going to want to go and look at out-of-contract players that are less than his required quality, shall we say. Anyway, don't know how severely Ogbonna's injury is, but it must be pretty bad if it's going to be between 5 and 9 months for him to recover. So, is this the last time we'll ever see Ogbonna play in a claret and blue shirt? Probably. It's a shame because we all love him and we all know what he's capable of. I would hope that he would be able to recover in time just to play one more game before he does leave so that we can say a proper goodbye to him. Because I don't think we're going to renew his contract. His age will restrict the possibilities of that. But a great servant to the club while he's been here. I'm talking like he's already left. But in my belief, that is it for Ogbonna now. This could be a career-ending injury for him. Sad as that is. Anyway, I will speak to you again soon. Take care. Come on, you Irons.
Just wanted to give my very quick thoughts on Ogbonna's injury and where I think that puts us. Really gutted for Angelo. I mean, real great servant, been with us a long time. He's got better with age, as a lot of centre-halves do. Used to be quite prone to the odd mistake, I thought, but he's cut that out. I'd say the last 3 seasons he's been impeccable. So I really feel for him. But what that does is give other players an opportunity, namely I would say Craig Dawson, who, when he came in last season, him and Ogbonna formed a real good partnership, quite a lot of clean sheets, real no-nonsense defender. He's English, he's at a good age for a centre-half, got a lot of experience, a threat, set pieces, and I think his passing's actually underrated. And I think he come on and had a fantastic game against Liverpool. He put the interception in for our second goal. And I think it gives him a really good opportunity. I'd say he's just slightly ahead of Diop. I think Diop's maturing and he's going to be a good centre half. So hopefully those two with Zuma can form a good partnership. Who knows, he might go back to the back 3. I don't think he will. I don't think we need to, but he might go back to the back 3. And who knows, hopefully that gives maybe like Jamal Baptiste or Adji Alese an opportunity in some of the cup games, because they've been doing really well for the reserve. So gutted for Ogbonna, but I actually think it's probably one of the areas within our squad we've got a little bit of depth and a bit of quality. So I don't think it's going to weaken us at all. I think Dawson, since he's come in, has been as good as Ogbonna. So that's my thoughts on the situation.
Yeah. Excuse me, so I still got some of that cough, you know. Oh my days, what's up everybody? Your boy Peach is in the building. Big up Gatesy. WeStHaM RaNdOm, how you mean? Running 2 things. Like seams on jeans. But like some run pantyhose. Oh no! Oh no! That's what it is about Ogbonna. Oh no! But you see me, yeah? You see me? I don't believe in coincidences. Coinkydinks. I don't believe in them things. Everything happens for a reason. Honestly. Think about it. You think about a friend that you ain't seen in 10 years. Bosh! You see that person like the next day. You know what I mean? That ain't coincidence. That's like creative visualization. Straight up. But I'll show you this, man. Ogbonna jarred his leg. Got an AC injury. ALC, ACL. Basically fucked up his knee. Looking at like what, 6-7 months out. So this is a time when you saw the likes of Dawson playing beside what's the boy's name there? Zuma. Thank God we got Zuma. Oh, Zuma. Happy Zuma. But like Dawson, steal of the century. I thought it was 2 million. Somebody quoted me wrong in the chat the other day. I think it was 7 million. Pardon me. But you got Dawson. Now it's time for man-to-man like Diop to step up. Because he has the ability. He has the skill. Do I think he'll play better with Zuma than Ogbonna? Yes, I do. It's the French connection. I call it the diamond. DJ Rusty B calls it the triangle. Same thing. So Diop needs to step up, because he'll be on call if something happens to Dawson. So worst case scenario, let's say something happens to Dawson. He gets injured. Now you got Zuma, and who else? Diop. So now let's say something happens to Diop. You got Zuma, and then you got Rice, who could fit back there because we got Kral. So it could be Kral and Souček, the Czech alliance. And then you got Rice filling in for Dawson or Diop besides Zuma. Now let's say something happens to Diop. Then you got my boy, G. Even Declan Rice like is raving about this boy, man. This boy is like, he's nominated for Player of the Month this month It is his birthday in 2 days. Homeboy's lighting it up. He's only 17 years old, 18 on November 11th, Remembrance Day. But I'm showing you, man, I think Baptiste got what it takes. Last thing I heard about Alisi, he was injured. So I don't know how match fit he is. I don't know if he's playing. I don't know if he's not. Funny thing, too, for the under-23s, your boy there, Baptiste, owns the number 6 shirt. Interesting. He won't be able to hone that like playing in the first team. His number in the first team is like 75 live. How do you mean? But yeah, man, I got good feelings. It's not nice what happened to Ogbonna, but I think it happened at the right time. Because what? We're November, December. We're like a month or two away from the January transfer window. I watched Gates's show previously, and he was talking about Mangala. If we can get him on a free, you know what I mean? Just for like till the end of the season, or like for pittance to the end of the season, would I take him? Yes. Phil Jones, left footer, as well as Ogbonna, would I take him? I don't know. I'm not really turned on by Phil Jones. Phil Jones is like one of those girls when you're at the club. She looks hype when like the lights are off, then the lights go on and you're like, whoa. So no, I don't know about Phil Jones. Mangala, no problem. No problemo. No problemo at all. And Baptiste, let me show you about this, man. I done watched the man play. He operates in the middle, but he can also, like, he operates in the middle and predominantly right. But he does drift over to the left. He does have a left foot on him as well as a right foot. He does get his nut stuck in to like grab 2 goals from corners and set pieces. What are we renowned for? Set pieces. Mr. Naveen, how do you mean? So yeah, that's just my thing. Like, bless up Ogbonna, how do you mean? I hope it's a speedy recovery, but I think this is perfect. I know y'all are probably like looking at me like, what is Peach talking about? I think it's perfect because this is a chance for Diop to have to step up. It's a chance for Dawson to hold his place there. It's a chance for Rice, if he has to roll through back to the center half position, we got Crawl. So you could have Crawl and Suchek like I done said. Anyways, have to keep it under 6 minutes, which I just done did. Peach is in the building. Now Peach is out.